live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
All eyes are on Ukraine's capital city as Russian troops move in. The international community responds to the unprovoked aggression.
President Biden has nominated Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to be the next Supreme Court Justice of the United States. I'm Raquel Martin in Washington. I'll have reaction from lawmakers coming up.
Plus, important pieces of Forest City history are in need of help. You can make sure images from the past survive for future generations. Good evening, I'm Eric Wilson. Mimi Murphy is off tonight. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues, the exodus away from areas where there's fighting has begun. An estimated 50,000 Ukrainians have fled the country just in the last 2 days. At least 100,000 have been displaced. Ukrainian officials urge the military to keep fighting and ask able-bodied men to take up arms. ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from Washington.
Heavy fighting in and around Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, where gunfire and explosions are forcing residents into their homes or underground into subway shelters. But a senior Pentagon official tells ABC News that the Russian advance into Kyiv has been slower than Moscow anticipated, and their troops have met resistance. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his family is in hiding, but he defiantly posted a video of himself and other key government officials in central Kyiv, saying, quote, "We are here." Earlier, he called on Russian leader Vladimir Putin to negotiate, but the Kremlin says they'll talk when order is restored. Analysts say Russia's real goal is to get Ukraine to surrender and to vow never to join NATO.
He does not want a country that is edging towards the EU, that's edging towards democracy on his doorstep. He wants to create that buffer from NATO.
NATO convened a special summit, President Biden joining virtually from the White House, where leaders again urged Russia to cease its military action. NATO announcing it's activating their response force, the potentially 40,000-man force that would serve a deterrence and defense role.
We condemn Russia's aggressions in the strongest possible terms.
The European Union placing a freeze on the assets of both Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Officials tell ABC that about a third of the 150,000 Russian fighters have entered Ukraine, but now the remaining troops are resupplied and will likely cross the border all at once. So far, Russia launched more than 200 missiles at Ukraine's military targets, and some civilian areas were reportedly hit. Civilians who are trying to leave the country are facing hour-long waits at the border and massive traffic jams.
That was M. Nguyen reporting. A Rockford church with ties to Ukraine, we introduced you to yesterday, is praying for a safe end to the conflict. So we told you about First Covenant's sister church in Kalinovka. That church's pastor and family are among those forced to stay as Russian troops advance throughout the country. Today, Rockford parishioners came together during a vigil to show their support.
We share a common, the common human experience, and so anytime that life is threatened, people should come together and support one another. We don't want to see any more, lives lost. So to be praying for a peaceful resolution to this situation.
You can learn more about First Covenant's sister church at mystateline.com. Police look to the public to help find a man they say was behind a Monday shooting in Rockford. Investigators are looking for this man. He's John Cooper. The 33-year-old is wanted on several charges. Murder's one of them. The shooting happened late Monday morning at BJ's Auto on 11th Street. Officers found a 24-year-old man at the scene. He'd been shot more than once. The victim was taken to a local hospital in critical condition. Police have not offered an update on his condition since. If you know where John Cooper is, call Rockford Police or Crime Stoppers. An Illinois bill inspired by the legal issues surrounding Winnebago County Coroner Bill Hintz clears another hurdle. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the Capitol. Approved by the Illinois Senate, the proposed law would allow local governments to punish elected officials charged with a crime while in office. If signed into law, cases would go to the state's attorneys. Circuit courts would then have the final decision on punishments. Coroner Bill Hintz is accused of misusing a county credit card and stealing from the deceased and their families. He voluntarily went on paid leave. The bill now goes to the Illinois House. Illinois will recoup hundreds of millions of dollars in a new settlement over the opioid epidemic. Johnson & Johnson and 3 drug distribution companies have finalized a $26 billion settlement to end a legal case over their role in the crisis. Illinois will get about $760 million of that money. It will be distributed to local governments, including Winnebago County, to pay for drug counseling and treatment programs. It's money State's Attorney Jay Hanley says is badly needed. According to Hanley, opioid overdose-related ER visits were up more than 26% in January when compared to 2021.
The value of a settlement like this is it is done at the macro level. And also, just to be frank, it involves a significant amount of money that can go directly to the communities to not just abate but completely reverse the trends that we've been seeing.
Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul says money could start going out as early as April. Illinois' indoor mask mandate will soon be lifted. Beginning Monday, masks will no longer be required inside public spaces. Individual businesses and venues can still set their own rules. Masks will still be required on public transit and in healthcare settings. Governor Pritzker announced the end of the mandate 2 weeks ago. Since then, the number of COVID patients in hospitals in Illinois has been cut in half. The number of available ICU beds has increased by 24%. And new COVID cases have dropped by 70%. A local university celebrates a milestone anniversary. February 25th, 1847, a charter was signed to establish Rockford Female Seminary. That seminary would eventually become known as Rockford University. The festivities kicked off with a community honors luncheon at Regents Hall. 7 area businesses and organizations were recognized for their contributions to the university. A Charter Day convocation was also held for students and staff. University President Dr. Eric Fulcomer says reaching 175 years is no small feat.
It's a great honor for us to be able to celebrate. Not all institutions make it to 175 years, so the fact that we've made it to this point is a great accomplishment. We're going to have 3 former presidents here with us today who have been a part of leadership for the last 30 years, and so it's going to be a great day.
More celebration events will take place over the weekend. You can find a list of those over at mystateline.com. We'll keep the look at the past theme going with this story. A Rockford museum needs your help to preserve important pieces of the city's history. Veterans Memorial Hall and Museum is working to save a collection of photographs. They're called the Camp Grant Yards of Men. The long format panoramas are vulnerable to damage and need repairs. Those fixes can cost anywhere from $20 to $200 a piece. Museum administrators say Camp Grant's history played a critical role in building the city we live in today.
Camp Grant brought a lot of people to Rockford. Tens of thousands of soldiers were processed through Camp Grant. A lot of families are here because, hey, great-grandpa was discharged at Camp Grant, liked Rockford, and stayed.
For more information on how you can help, find this story using the My State Line app. The president promised to install a black woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. Today, he made his selection. We'll tell you about the judge who could soon sit on the nation's highest court. Plus, Chicago launches a new program aimed at helping those hit hard by pandemic hardships. Coming up at 6, the guaranteed income they could receive.
And temperatures reached the 20s today after all the snow that we got last night. Had a lot quieter conditions coming up. I'll break down all the details coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Scott Leber, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
President Biden nominates a 51-year-old woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. If confirmed, she will be the first black woman to sit on the nation's highest court. Raquel Martin tells us about her as Raquel keeps you connected to the nation's capital.
Today's announcement fulfills President Biden's campaign promise to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court. Today, he said he is proud to make this decision, calling Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson one of the brightest legal minds in the nation.
I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation.
Friday, President Joe Biden nominated Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to become the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court.
A nominee of extraordinary qualifications.
My life has been blessed beyond measure.
During the announcement, 51-year-old Judge Jackson thanked the president, her family, and God for the honor.
One can only come this far by faith.
And she vowed to be a fair jurist,
upholding the rule of law and the sacred principles upon which this great nation was founded.
Judge Jackson grew up in Miami, has 2 degrees from Harvard, and is a former clerk of retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer.
Judge Jackson deserves to be confirmed.
But before she takes her seat here at the Supreme Court, Judge Jackson will first need to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. And lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say they're eager to jumpstart the vetting process.
Judge Jackson will receive a prompt hearing.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's confident in Judge Jackson's record.
And I expect and hope she will earn bipartisan support in the Senate.
Republican Senator Mike Round says Republicans are ready to ask questions.
We'll listen with an open mind.
Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, who was key to moving Jackson's nomination forward, is promising to play fair. And while weeks ago President Biden did vow to make this announcement by the end of this month, some Republicans have been critical of the timing. Tennessee Republican Marsha Blackburn calling it extremely inappropriate for him to make this announcement during the invasion of Ukraine. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
After a night of snow, we had sunshine almost all day today. What can you expect for the weekend, and when could we have some warmer temps? That's all coming up next in your First Warned Weather. Stay here.
Now, your First Warned Weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Well, after all the snowfall that we got last night, our totals actually ended up pretty similar to where we would have been as far as those are concerned. We were in the 1 to 3 inches range for the most part. Some of the areas got a little bit higher than that. Overall, we did see close to that area for most of us here at WTVO. We did see just under 3 inches in the Rockford Airport, recording just a little bit less than that, down to 1.6 inches. Now, as far as our radar is concerned, we are seeing a lot of those clearing skies here this evening. Just some cloud cover beginning to work its way in. We have seen some of these lake effect snow showers off to the south and to the east. Those will be continuing to push off the area as we continue on here through this evening. And we are seeing a lot of those sunny conditions. This is our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera of Rochelle right now. Just seeing a lot of those clearing skies in a very nice afternoon, very bright because of that fresh snowfall as well. Temperatures right now are still in the 20s. 24 here in Rockford, picking up some cloud cover. 23 in Rochelle, 23 in Freeport. Definitely seeing some of those calmer conditions and sunnier conditions as well. We're seeing those cooler conditions a little bit off to the west as well. We are seeing some of that southerly flow begin to work its way in. This is where the high pressure is centered. We notice that because of the clockwise spin of the winds that we are seeing there. We're going to be having continuing those here through the evening as that high pressure pushes on. Temperatures will continue to warm over the next couple of days as well. Wind speeds right now are right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. We are seeing those out of the east, out of the west right now, I should say. So we are seeing those lake effect snow showers pushing off to the opposite side of the lake. Wind chills are still in the teens because of this. We are seeing that a little bit of a stronger wind, so definitely some wind chills here as we progress on through the evening. Temperatures tonight down to 12 degrees here in Rockford. Partly cloudy skies. We do have a very slight chance of flurries, but overall not really much of a chance there. We do have some wind chills that will be moving on through the evening, down in the single digits for those wind chills here this evening, but luckily tomorrow we get back up into the 20s, so wind chills really don't hang on for very long. Tomorrow, temperatures all the way up into the 30s, a lot more sunshine similar to what we had today. Very seasonably right around where we should be for this time of year. We are seeing on Futurecast a lot more of that sunshine beginning to work its way through. A lot of sunshine here through the day on Saturday and into Sunday as well. Our jet stream is showing a little bit of a split flow, so that's really going to keep our temperatures pretty well regulated here over the next couple days. We'll slowly warm up near 40 degrees here for a few days into that. And our temperature outlook showing warmer temperatures as well and wetter conditions as well. 7-day forecast showing temperatures warming up there into the middle of the week. Breezy conditions Monday, a couple slight chances, but then near 50 degrees toward the back half of the week. So definitely some quiet and warm temperatures that we're talking about.
Temperatures headed in the right direction and no single digits. 2 positives out of that 7-day forecast. Jordan, thanks. Scott Leber is in next with sports. He says it'll be a fabulous Friday for boys high school basketball. Scott has a preview of the sectional championship games that'll be happening. And he'll tell us where Matt Nagy will be coaching next season.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
The spotlight will be back on the guys tonight in high school basketball. Boys teams will be playing for regional championships. And I can't wait for this one in Jefferson. Hananiga will take on Nick 10 champion Auburn. Auburn won both regular season matchups over the Indians, but both were good games. Adrian Agee came up big in both of those games for the Knights. He scored 19 points in each one. Rob Chaney also went off for 27 points for the Knights in the second game. That was back on January 21st. For Hananiga, big Dominic Camisso scored 17 points in both games. The winner of this one will advance to the Huntley sectional. At the 4A Algonquin-Jacobs Regional, East will play Huntley. In 4A at Hampshire, DeKalb will play St. Charles North. In Class 3A at Boylan, the Titans will host Freeport. Freeport beat Boylan at Boylan just a couple weeks ago. Also in 3A, Sterling will play at Rochelle. In Class 2A at Oregon, it'll be Stillman Valley playing for a regional championship against Eureka. At Woodstock Marion, Lutheran will battle Marengo. In another 2A game at Aurora Christian, Rockford Christian will play Wheaton Academy. In Class 1A at Olden Hebron, South Beloit will face Hinckley Big Rock. At Scales Mound, East Dubuque will play Scales Mound. Also in 1A at Indian Creek, Pecatonica will play Salmonock. And at Eastland, Ackman will battle Newman. So David Greenberg and I are going to have a full plate tonight for overtime in those games. We'll also spotlight Winnebago's Mia Brown. So join us tonight at 11 on Fox 39. The Ice Hogs are trying to end a 2-game losing streak tonight in Iowa. Iowa's lost its last 5 games. Matt Nagy has landed on his feet. He's back with the Chiefs as their starting quarterbacks coach and a senior assistant to Andy Reid. Nagy was an assistant with the Chiefs for 5 years before the Bears hired him. So he'll again be working with Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is the top-paid quarterback in the NFL, making $45 million a year, but not for long if Aaron Rodgers has his way. After winning back-to-back MVP awards, Rodgers is eyeing making $50 million a year from the Packers or from some team. ESPN reports Rodgers wants to become the highest-paid quarterback in NFL history. You gotta like the move by the Bulls to bring on board Tristan Thompson, another veteran big with playoff experience. Thompson was solid in his Bulls debut last night, 11 points and 6 rebounds in only 13 minutes off the bench. The Bulls will host the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow night. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Whatever snow that did fall around here is not going to last long based on the temperatures in your 7. And even just the sunshine today. You know, we had, obviously, the temperature was either right at freezing or not very much above freezing, but still spaces like concrete maybe, driveways, things are already starting to melt.
Yeah, all the roadways were really well clear here this afternoon. We are expecting just a couple more flurries, maybe a slight chance of those. Those are lake effect flurries right now moving across right around Indiana and northern Illinois there. Now those will stay out of the way, but we could have a slight chance for flurries later tonight. Temperatures do stay all above freezing. Look at that, every single high temperature above freezing for the rest of the 7-day, all the way up to near 40s and 50 by the time we get to the end of the week.
And even bearable overnight temperatures. Nice work, Jordan. Thanks for spending some time with us. Stay safe.